Ladies and gentlemen, happy feast week. It's the second greatest time of the year to be a college basketball fan. Let's not pretend it's not March, but there is plenty to discuss. Great hoops on all day this week. Plenty to be thankful for, dare I say. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Greg Waddell. I'm with my co-host, Carter Elliott, my favorite friend in the world. And today we're going to do something that I imagine the Wampanoag people did when the 52 English colonists settled on the 1621 harvest of the first Thanksgiving. We're going to panic. We're going to talk about players and teams that should be on panic watch today. How are you, Cart?
First of all, we're not going any further without me paying respect and homage to you. So heed my words when I say this, Greg. Gobble, gobble. Without further ado, let's panic.
All right, folks, we've got 4 players and 5 teams that, we're worried about at this point in the college basketball season, and we will unveil these one by one, explain why, and maybe we should assign some sort of arbitrary panic rating to each of these. We're really bad at rating systems, so, Cart, how do you want to go about rating our panic scale for each of these things?
You know what? Let's go with the color scale. Let's go green, we're fine. Yellow, okay, I'm a little antsy. Red, yo, it's time to really, really panic and tell your best friend next to you it's time to panic with you.
Okay. Yo, it's time to really, really panic, and panic with your best friend with you is probably going to be something we see a lot in this episode, would be my guess. Reminder, this is an interactive live show as well. We're keeping an eye on the chat, so hit us with questions, comments, or if you want to just do the text-based version of like a panicked yell, that's also appropriate for a room like this. So go ahead. We'd love to see it. Let's start with our number 1 panic watch player. This should come as no surprise to anyone who has listened or watched us this year. It's the projected number 1 pick that doesn't play basketball anymore, Darren MIA Peterson.
Mm-mm-mm. Listen, you can't really talk about panicking about a basketball player until you address Darren Peterson. And look, this has nothing to do with Darren Peterson on the court. When he's on the court this year, he's one of the best players in the country. But that's the thing. He has not been on the court. There is a hamstring injury that as it goes on day by day, it seems to be getting worse and or better depending on what the day is. One day he's going full go at practice, everything's going good, and then after practice he's like, you know what? I don't really want to give it a go today. It doesn't really feel right. Now he's missing all the games of the Players Era tournament. Greg, are we gonna see him this year? December is upon us. There are still games to be played for Kansas. This is one where honestly, I started off bringing it up to you. I was probably in a green. I was like, don't worry about it. We're not risking our hamstring against Princeton. Now I'm getting to a point where it's getting somewhere in between probably the yellow and the red category here.
Is that a solid orange? Is that what you'd say? A little mix of yellow and red then?
Listen, I've never been team mix the colors. I'm team make enough money to buy what color you want.
That's so true. Yeah, it's a red for me. It's been a red since the moment Darren Peterson was vlogging while missing games in street clothes. Look, I think we can all be grown-up kids here. Let's go from the kids' table to the grown-ups' table here. This kid has nothing to play for. His NBA future is set in stone. He knows that. The people advising him know that. If he sneezes, it's his best choice to get a tissue and make sure we don't go anywhere near a basketball. I hate it, and I'm not calling him soft. I'm not saying he should play through injury, but I am saying this. There's zero sense of urgency for him to rush back. And I feel for Kansas fans. I feel for his Kansas teammates who are, on a roster entirely built around him being a universally centric superstar and acquitting themselves really nicely. They're 2-0 in the Players Era Festival. They might go 3-0. They might win today without him. And all of a sudden, we're going to look around and wonder what this team could be with the best guard in the country. It has to be a red for me. My biggest thing that I like about him is that he's really turned into a Scott Disick.
I'm sorry, what?
He's off the court. I'm on fire today, dog. Let's move to player
Good
number 2.
grief.
Let's move to player number 2 on our panic watch. This is another guy that I think we've got motivational questions with. This time he's been in a basketball uniform. It's Kentucky's Otega Owe. I've nicknamed him affectionately Ooh. It's more of like an ooh for me to start this season.
Yeah, look, Otega Owe had all the preseason accolades, preseason SEC Player of the Year. Many people tabbed him as a first team All-American. And what we've seen thus far is questions about effort from Otega Owe himself, saying that his effort is off. His coach and his team seem to be struggling as well with them. And, Greg, you are the PhD expert when it comes to body language. Just seeing Otega Owe, he has the look of a player who's like, I don't know if I signed up for this. Like, yes, I signed my NIL check, which, by the way, very much appreciative of that. But also, I didn't sign up to play without Jalen Lowe for a year. I didn't sign up to play without Jaden Quaitnance, and I didn't really sign up to play with Brandon Garrison and crew. I just don't know if it seems like a player that is happy with his decision.
His body language was terrible after Kentucky's loss to Michigan State. His words were even worse. When asked what he needs to fix most, he literally said, I think it's my effort. That's my problem right now. He's the highest paid player on this team. He's just not living up to what he was supposed to be. And maybe shame on us for thinking there was more to come here because his numbers are not all that different from last year. It's just we thought there was a leap coming. We thought there was growth coming from a guy that NBA teams were looking at the end of last season. It just hasn't been there. And I'm seeing the ball clearly right now because, he wears 00 for a number. The only reason he's back at Kentucky is for a couple more zeros. Let's be real about this. And I think it's going to be a big time problem for him if Kentucky's season doesn't turn around. The fan base knows how much money you're making. You can't say effort is a problem. Are we going dark red for Otega? I think I'm actually more concerned about Otega than I am Darren Peterson.
I am too, as well.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's check in with our chat for the first time in this show, starting with Coleman Locke, who says Kansas still going to win it all.
If they are going to win it all, they need Darren Peterson to play. So, Coleman Locke, please holla at me when your star is back on the court.
Yeah, the fighting Cole Rosarios just don't interest me at that scale. Let's see. Hollywood 24 says, before this gets crazy, Kansas is fine and DP fine and getting healthy. That's exactly my problem, Hollywood 24. I think DP is fine. And I think he is getting healthy. And I think he is not playing basketball still.
Yeah. Also, here's my issue. People have been telling me that for 3 weeks. At what point do we panic then? Kansas fans, please hit my line. My Twitter handle is on this graphic. Please let me know when it is okay to panic because it is November 26th.
Right. I have to feel like Kansas fans are feeling like my personal trainer. It's been 3 weeks. I'm doing all the right things. And there's just zero progress here. Roaring Pearl says Memphis is definitely in panic mode.
The thing is about Memphis, they're just bad. So don't panic. Just accept that you're a bad basketball team. Actually, I would say this. I don't think Memphis is in panic mode. I think they're here and they're bad.
I really did think about putting Memphis on this list and I stayed away from it because you can't panic when Doug McDaniel's your best player. There's no such thing as panic. You don't know what's happening. It's like an earthquake's going on. You're just like, oh, cool. Hudson says Otega has no energy, effort, playmaking, and settling for shots he shouldn't take. Yes, that's bad.
I mean, we just need Otega to be Otega, right?
No, I think we need Otega to be better than Otega.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have spent all summer saying that Otega is Otega then.
Maybe we shouldn't have spent is probably a good way to frame this. Let's go to our third player on the panic watch list, a player responsible for maybe the ugliest performance that I saw yesterday. UCLA point guard Donovan Dent. It was supposed to be all warm and fuzzies as Donovan Dent went home to play for the hometown school, Mick Cronin, and would save the Bruins backcourt after a disastrous season last year. He's down 9 points a game. He's down efficiency-wise. He's shooting 9% from three. Cart, they lost to Cal, and he had 3 points in the loss. This is not the Donovan Dent that was promised.
Greg, does that say 9.1% from three?
Yeah.
Did he start shooting with his left hand this year?
Maybe he should.
That's it. You know what? The thing that kills me with this is that I feel like Donovan Dent has mailed it in.
Hmm.
Truthfully, I think that he got his big paycheck from Mick Cronin and then realized, oh, damn, I also have to play for Mick Cronin. This is no fun. I miss Patino. This isn't me. I want to be a Lobo again. I just don't think he's having a good time. He's playing like he's not having a good time, but it's no excuse for how he's playing right now. The drop off that has happened from him last year, I get doing the whole like going up in level of competition. He looks like not even a shell of himself. I don't even know what phrase to use.
Yeah, I mean, in his defense, if I'm really trying to like put myself in Donovan Dent's shoes, which I've got to be completely honest, is not something I've ever really once thought about for 1 second. Donovan Dent did go from playing with JT Toppin to playing with Xavier Booker.
That
Can we
happened.
really not understand why he might not be happy to be there, Cart?
That happened. He also might be hurt, but also who knows?
I'm sick of guys that might be hurt and we don't know if they're hurt and are struggling. I want good basketball. I'm just saying. Our producer, by the way, chiming in here to let me know on the back end, we can confirm it's 9%. So, source, me, 9% from three this year
Oh,
for
that's it. Okay.
Donovan
Can
Mitchell.
we before we move on? Can we address how legit bad that is?
That's bad.
Like, come on, man. Like, you are centers that haven't shot before could go out and shoot better than 9% from three.
Yeah, it's as bad as my hairline. I don't think there's anything either one of us can do about it. Okay, fourth on the panic watch list. This one might be the one that I think people are least concerned about. I'll be curious to see what your color scale is for your panic level here. Tahad Pettiford is on panic watch for me. Here's why. The story of his season before the Players Era Festival was essentially that he's been terrible. Talk about low percentages from three. He couldn't buy a jumper at all. He's shooting 25% from three, 34% from the floor. He has just picked it up for two individually impressive performances at Players Era. But how impressed are we supposed to be when you pick it up to the tune of 16 points and your team loses by 30? He's supposed to carry this team to success this season. He's certainly not doing that. How panicked are you about Tahad?
So I'm not necessarily crazy panicked about Tahad. I think he's a talented player. I think he'll get his. I just think that this is an adjustment. It truly is. Like everything that he had last year was taken away from him. He lost Janai Broom. He lost Miles Kelly. He lost Chad Baker-Mazar. He lost everybody. And then he's like, okay, well, I lost everybody. At least I still got my dog Bruce. Mm-mm. He's taken from you too. They took everybody and gave him Keyshawn Hall and Kevin Overton. With all due respect, that's an adjustment period that needs to be taken into account here. I think his percentages will go up, but also I'm not panicking because I kind of saw this coming. Like this was a guy who was really good last season, off a bench role, playing with one of the best teams in college basketball and the second best player in the sport outside of Cooper Flag. And now he's
Yeah.
playing with Keyshawn Murphy. It's a little bit different. There's going to be an adjustment period. He's an undersized guard. He can't get assists because Keyshawn Hall dribbles too much to get assists. It's just there's going to be an adjustment period here, but I am starting to monitor the panic button.
Yeah, I mean, thinking you've got Chad Baker Mazzara alongside with you, and then all of a sudden you've got Kevin Overton. It's like thinking you're going to watch Ryan Hammer and his brother, and then realizing you have to watch us. It's just hard to fill those shoes. I think Tahad's going to have to come to terms with his reality. Look, I think there's going to be some prolific individual numbers. I just think the problem is if Tahad's your best player, your team might stink. And for that reason, I have to go a firm yellow on the color panic scale. Which color are you assigning Tahad Pettiford?
I'm gonna keep it green.
Oh, so you're not worried.
I'm worried, but I'm not worried enough to go yellow.
Okay. That's fair. Let's check back in with the chat. David48 says, don't disrespect Dougie. He's tough as hell. Make one thing clear, David48. I've never disrespected Doug McDaniel, and I never will. I think I'm the only person on earth who owns the original Doug McDaniel graphic tee that gave him 54.59 on Christmas 2 years ago when no one could even sell their own merch yet. That's my guy. I'll take a bullet for him. I watched an 8-win season with him and loved every second of it.
Word to my guy Nasir. You're always loved on this channel.
but Doug needs better. Okay. I don't want to watch his career come to die at the hands of Penny Hardaway and Aaron Bradshaw. Klein says it seems like Donovan Dent went from more of a scorer to more of a facilitator, and it's odd.
Mick Nicholas Cronin. As long as I walk this earth and I have a platform, you will answer for your crimes.
Jay Meisner agrees, says Mick Cronin equals not a good time. I think the whole world agrees right now, including Mick Cronin, who would probably self admit he's not a good time. The Haymaker says, I'm not super worried about Tahad, but if I'm an NBA scout, I have questions since he came back.
Yeah, listen, his stock was at an all-time high, and it went from being high to DUIs to getting blown out by 40 and not shooting above 40% from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah. He's basically gone from surprise to DUI to let it fly to it hurts my eyes.
You are on one today. You got special powers in those
Sorry,
little feathers.
I don't know what's going on. Hudson says Pettiford should have came to Kentucky. Yeah, that's exactly what Kentucky needs. Another player who's strictly back for the paycheck.
Listen, we're NIL positive here, Greg. Stop it.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. Isn't there money on the line tonight at the Players Era?
There is.
So it's possible to pay your players and get good play out of them? I had no idea. To some teams on Panic Watch next. Let's start with number one on our list. Drum roll, please. It is your favorite team in America, the Texas Tech Dead Raiders.
Dead Raiders. Yeah, there might be a team. This was the first one we thought about when we had to do teams on Panic Watch. We'll go ahead and get in front of this right now. Red, very red. Texas Tech red at that case. And look, that might be a little bit too far. I think that, if you don't come to play against Purdue and you have a very two-centric star team and you play in a convention center in Baja Mar, you are going to get dog walked. And they did get dog walked. Now, JT Toppin and Christian Anderson are still very, very good. But the Los Tres Gilados Amigos that they have on the team, they're not so good. And when they don't play good, and JT Toppin, everyone's focusing on him and Christian Anderson, this team is, I don't know, man. I had such high hopes for them, but I think they're really feeling the loss of Darion Williams right now.
Yeah, Lawan Watts just hasn't filled that role at all. He's not even in the starting lineup right now. He looked totally overwhelmed against Purdue, but it's far beyond Watts. It's not that they have one role player struggling right now. It's that every single role player is struggling. And stop me if you have heard this before, ladies and gentlemen. They've got an issue at the top as well, because it was a very disengaged JT Toppin performance against Purdue. JT Toppin, mind you, the player that Carter and I sat down with at Big 12 Media Day, looked him dead in the eyes and said, JT, you could have been in the league right now. Why are you back? And he flashed his wrist and said, the NIL. Yeah, we can tell. That's the only reason you're back. How many guys are struggling right now that are strictly back for the money and playing like it, It's just obvious that's what's going on with Texas Tech right now.
I forgot about that. Can I change it to green?
You're not worried?
Yeah, I'm not worried because he's got his head on right.
I guess that's very true. They need some help, man. If they could just buy a certain wing player away from Will Wade for the second half of the season, I would like their chances. To the second team on our Panic Watch list, a team that has flirted with disaster more than you in your freshman year of college summer. It's the Houston Cougars.
It feels wrong to put them on this list, and I hope the ghost of the Sampson family is not somewhere behind me. If they are behind me and you see them, Greg, please give me a signal or something like that, because this is still a top five team on KenPom. But look, Houston has very high expectations, right? They have this great defense, right? They have these really talented freshmen, but not to steal one of your points here, Greg, but it does seem that maybe Sampson's having a little bit of trouble or needs some time adjusting to those freshmen. This is a guy that's so used to having a bunch of 25-year-olds on his team. Juwan Roberts played like 9 years of college basketball, and that was Sampson's best friend. Now he's got these guys like Sinak, who's talented, but maybe frustrates him a little bit. Kingston Fleming's talented, playing really well, but it doesn't necessarily seem to lead to the best play as of yet for Houston. So it's still green for me with Houston, but I'm not necessarily liking kind of the performances I guess I had seen thus far from them.
Yeah, I just don't think Samson knows how to deal with youth. And that might be an oversimplification of this because they are incredibly talented. My bet here would be that at the end of the season, Houston is totally fine. I mean, this is still a top five team in the country analytically right now. I just think he demands so much of his players physically, defensively, that for guys that are really experiencing their first month in college basketball, there's a lot to figure out. Your head is spinning, and I think you can see that sometimes from Sanak, especially down low. Kingston Fleming's is way ahead of schedule. That's going to bode well as the season plays on. Cart, I'm the most overreactionary person that we know. I speak for both of us on that. I'm not worried about Houston. I put them in
Mm,
the green on my panic color scale.
okay. I feel like that's a given. It's Houston still.
Yeah, we can't be mad until Houston falls out of the top five analytically, which hasn't happened in 7 years.
Yeah, deal.
Yeah. Let's go back to the chat. David48 says, very true. As a fellow Michigan fan, I'll always love Doug. Shame it didn't work out. I cry every night about this.
As a Michigan State fan, I love Doug too.
As I sit here watching my team win back to back games against top 50 opponents by a combined 70 points, all I can think to myself is, damn, I wish it would have worked out with Doug McDaniel. B. Robinson 68 says Houston should not be on panic watch, one loss to a good team. I think we got to put them on watch, but we also get to color code scale them a green.
Yeah, also like they beat Auburn by one. You know what I'm saying? In other games they played against lower level opponents, they didn't necessarily look the best. Games a little bit closer than you maybe would have liked. Listen, it's not anything above a green, but it's something that we're monitoring.
Yeah, listen, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, right? You go over to your in-laws, the turkey's being served or ham's being served. Excuse me. I know there's some families out there that do both these days. Say it's a 3 p.m. meal, right? But everybody's getting there at noon. Guess what? You got to put some appetizers out. You got to put some chips on the table. You don't have to eat them, but they got to be on the table. That's Houston on panic watch right now. Rickest Morty says Kentucky is on here somewhere. Have to be after what we heard on Owe. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. To number 3 on our panic watch list, it is your op, Will Wade, the NC State Wolfpack. Why should NC State be on panic watch?
So I'd probably put this at a yellow as far as Panic Watch, just because, Maui can be a little bit fickle. But here's the thing that's putting me on the Panic Watch for them, Gregory. They didn't play bad. They played well. They played well and they lost to Seton Hall. Now they did bounce back and beat Boise State, but there's something about this NC State team where it's like I look at the roster and I'm just like not that overall impressed. I think Darion Williams is a star. I think outside of that, they have a bunch of role players. Maybe Matt Abel can be a star for them, the freshman, but right now he's coming off the bench. Other than that, I really think they have a bunch of role players on this team. And, you know, game one in, they lose, or sorry, not game one, but game one in Maui, they lose. And Will Wade's already hitting well, you know what, the smooth sea never made for a good sailor. Oh, really? Where was all that poking your chest and gut out about how great you are about your team and how you're going to change Van Allen Lubin and how you're going to do right by Darion Williams and everything like that? Things don't look as sweet now, do they, William?
That felt like it got personal there. I endorsed that. Hey, Carter, are you a movie guy?
No.
Yeah, that tracks. You might not follow where I'm going then here, but NC State maybe could have renamed themselves NC 17 in that performance against Seton Hall because no children under the age of 17 should have been allowed to see that performance. It was disgusting. I disagree with you on the fact that you think they played well. I think they played terrible. I think it was horrible effort. Some shots went in. But I just think that was a total no-show from the jump from an energy standpoint. That's not supposed to happen with Trey Holloman. But hey, mind you, their best player, once again, a guy who left a championship-ready team for a paycheck. Seems like there's a lot of that on Panic Watch, isn't there? Let's go down to the 4th team on our Panic Watch list. You're right, chat, you nailed this one. The Kentucky Wildcats have to still be here, Cart.
Yeah, listen, this team's reactions to losses is one of the most disappointing things I've ever seen from a high major team and even a team in Kentucky at that. You would have think that every single one of these players, including their coach, had to watch their firstborn puppy die in front of their eyes because they lost two non-conference games to good basketball teams. If they just lost these games and went about their business, they would not be on panic meter watch. But the fact of the matter is, Mark Pope gets in front of cameras and turns into 6'10" bald Jalen Hurts and keeps on crying and giving motivational speeches after they lost to two good basketball teams. I think the mental makeup of this team is awful. I think there's a lot of overpaid guys on this team. I also think their best player has effort issues. I'm out.
Card, could we play rock, paper, scissors for a moment?
Of course.
Okay, on shoot. Ready?
Is it like rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
Yeah, on shoot.
All right, ready? Rock,
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, you went scissors. I went paper there. That means I lost, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's part of it. Greg, we can't all win rock, paper, scissors, man.
I don't know if I can do this anymore.
We can play again.
That's what Mark Pope did after losing one game in November. Seriously, have you ever seen a coach react that emotionally to something as innocuous as a loss to Tom Izzo? Like,
No.
I'm glad they can get it together against some cupcake opponents, but they have some serious self-evaluation to do. And until Mark Pope gets a therapist, I don't know how we can trust this team. One more team on the panic watch list. It is a really definitively bad basketball team. I think the only really definitively bad basketball team we've put here, it is Shaka Smart's Marquette Golden Eagles.
Yeah, red. Maybe the reddest team on this list. Marquette prided itself on not going out in the transfer portal and replacing any players from last year's team. And what that has made for is a pretty awful basketball product and an awful basketball team. Greg, we looked at it earlier today. Where does Marquette currently stand on KenPom? Was it in the 70s?
Hold on, I can help you with this.
Oh, please, because I need it now more than ever, if you don't mind. You got to scroll far, don't you?
Yeah, sorry, scrolling. 76th.
76th best team on KenPom. Shaka Smart team. That is despicable.
Our producer just got in our ear and said 76th without realizing I was doing a bit about how low on the list they are. This team stinks. They're really, really bad. Sorry if that hurt the viewing experience, watchers at home. I think they're going to keep falling. I don't think this is a top 100 opponent for real. I think, and honestly, you know what, Cart? Can I show a moment of personal growth?
Yeah.
It turns out every single team and player that's on our panic watch right now isn't here because they took the money. I guess you can be on panic watch just for being bad because nobody on Marquette's getting money because their coach refuses to fill any gaps with the transfer portal at all. 2 years removed from Tyler Kolek arriving to Marquette via the transfer portal. I would lose my mind if I'm a Marquette fan. There's a middle ground to all of this. Clearly, I think you've got to be careful paying guys $4 million that want to be in the NBA to come back. But you also need to build a competitive roster filled with college basketball players that want to be in college. And Shaka's trying to do it the old-fashioned way, but it's not working.
Yeah, and now it's an old-fashioned two-pack of ass.
Tough. Let's go to the chat here. NM6622 says Tahad is not in panic watch.
Then why is he on? No, Greg, I got this. Then why is he on the list? NM? Why is he on the list then?
Counterpoint, he's on the list. Do you not see the screen? He's on the list.
Yeah, so he is on panic watch. He's on the list.
Card, I'll be sure to tune into NM6622's panic watch room where he gets to make the list.
Right.
Rickus Morty's says Tahad's wallet may not be on panic watch, but his play on the court is. Yeah.
Good on. Honestly, I'd be fine with my play on the court being on panic watch as long as my wallet's good.
Yeah. Hayden says the entire Big East should be on panic watch outside of 3 teams, to be honest. Who's the third?
I was going to say 3. Think there's 2. Everyone else is on panic watch.
Like 1.5?
1.5. Oh, don't do St. John's all right.
Yeah, Dylan Darling's got him, I'm sure. Producer Ian says Trayson Eaglestaff is 100% on panic watch. He has to get it together. And yes, that is Ian.
Ian, if you're gonna, the thing about panic watch is you're not looking at the second word. It's watch. No one's watching that team or that player. They're that bad. No one's tuning in. Not with free will and free right. I'm sorry. Are they choosing to watch that level of basketball?
Yeah, my bad. I thought you asked us for players and teams that should be on Panic Watch, not fan bases that should be on Panic Watch. You guys have to watch Trace and Eagle staff. Of course, you should be panicking every single night. By the way, Darren DeVries looking pretty good right now at his new digs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just saying. All
Dang.
right, folks. Thank you for persevering, maybe suffering through a panic driven room with us. We appreciate it. We are Sleepers Media. And if you are wondering where you can get more of us, well, we do a lot of things. You can find us on the Sleepers Media YouTube channel. We have a Sleepers podcast coming out 5 days a week. We do previews and recaps for all the biggest games in college basketball. We do roughly 7 hours of video content covering this sport we love so much every single day. We've also got a podcast with the preseason National Player of the Year, Braden Smith. New episodes every single week. We'll be doing that all season long. Carter, happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful we get to do this together every single week. The floor is yours to close the show.
I really much enjoy doing all this content with you every single week, G, but it's this room that I think does it for me. It's this room that I think is the final step for me getting stuffed to the point that I want to get. So I thank you for that.
And if you want to watch Carter get stuffed, come back to Sleepers Media every single day. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. I can't even speak. We'll see you next week.